Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
What's up, bro? Spike, Ravens fan, represent. Ready to get this draft started, man.
Hell no, man. Get out of here, man. We got a Ravens fan in the flock now. I don't like it. The energy feels off. Another host that we have representing the New York Giants. Man's looking snazzy. Welcoming Jason Zegan. How you doing, brother?
What up, boys? How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome.
Happy draft night.
So long announcing that pick, but I'm glad they went Fields.
Andy Dalton just got paid a free $10 million, but he lost his job.
Oh, you're right about that. Andy Dalton, he was pronounced the starting quarterback like 2 weeks ago.
Bye-bye, Andy.
We were just talking about this, how there's no
a year to
loyalty.
sit behind Andy Dalton? I don't know.
Bye-bye, Andy.
Oh, my Lord.
Bro, it's about correcting our mistakes, bro.
With the fourth pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. 4-0, baby. 4-0, baby. We're on a roll. Good decision, fellas. Whoever picked Kyle Pitts, you guys are smart men. Hey, check this out. And then send him back to the crowd. They're like,
Hey, take a look at the pick. You're the first Bengal fan to know.
what happened, Johnny? He's like, you'll see.
Here we go.
Three, two, one.
I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home! They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here! They're gonna need to send in the National Guard, a fucking SWAT team, because I ain't going nowhere!
Everybody, welcome to the Rick T Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. I'm your host, Eric Holmes, joined alongside with Jello Rexroad and Justin Sanchez. If you guys do want to watch the stream live, definitely head over to our YouTube, Twitch, or our Facebook Live. But right now, we just have this interaction going with Instagram. So definitely drop your opinions and stuff. And let's get it popping, man. And we are live. Welcome everybody to the Rick T Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. I'm your host, Eric Holmes, host of the Talk Your Talk Show and the Rick T Podcast. Joined with me today, we have our co-hosts, Jello Rexroad and Justin Sanchez. How you boys doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Didn't get to talk to you. Happy Mother's Day, Jello. Tell your girl I said Happy Mother's Day.
We'll do you as well.
Yo,
Happy Mother's Day to your girl, Jello. Happy Mother's Day to your mothers. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yes, sir. Mother's Day special is what we're calling this one, man. If you guys didn't know, we did take like a week and a half break from the show. Our last show was the Rick T Podcast Draft Extravaganza, so we haven't got to talk about the people that got drafted in the first round, second round, third round, etc. But if you guys didn't catch our Rick T Podcast Draft Extravaganza, we do have a short little highlight tape for you guys that I do want to show you guys, and then we'll get into our show. So enjoy this little highlight tape of the Rick T Podcast Draft Extravaganza on April 29th, a couple weeks ago. As you guys can see, the outfit attire for us hosts, I mean for at least some of us hosts, is business casual. You know, we want to seem like we're really on, you know, ESPN covering the draft here to my left. But also joined along with me today, we have alongside Justin Sanchez and your boy Indo is my Nindo. Indo is at work, so we're going to pop him back on here in 1 second when he is available, and then we'll get it popping. What's up, Justin? Welcome to the show, bro.
Yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate that shot. You know what I mean? It's probably because I'm wearing a Raider jersey, but, you know, repping my team on draft night.
The way
Ravens fan, represent. Ready to get this draft started, man.
Hell no, man. Get out of here, man. We got a Ravens fan in the flock now. I don't like it. The energy feels off.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from, Spike?
Oh, Hawaii, bro. Hilo, Hawaii. 808.
Fucking snazzy. Welcoming Jason Zegan. How you doing, brother?
What up, boys? How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome.
Happy
You know, it's
draft night.
Yes, so guest, super fan for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's all give a big round of a hand for our boy Tro, man. Welcome to the show, Tro.
Yo.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? How you feeling? Right now?
Ready to go. What's on commercial? Let's roll.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Let's get the draft underway.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 2021 NFL Draft. Come on, Cleveland.
Cleveland's going crazy. They're booing the shit out of
They're booing and let's go, baby.
They booing him, boy.
No,
That's a great tradition. I love that tradition.
It is. I love how he started to embrace it
I have
now,
a few
too.
friends here with me.
He's like, come
Let
on.
me introduce them, even though they don't need to be introduced to Browning fans. First,
Jesus.
Jarvis Landry.
You guys agree that that's the right representation of the Browns in Cleveland?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should have chose Baker.
I expect Baker. Nick
For
Chubb.
sure, Baker.
I thought Baker too. I thought it was gonna be Baker.
Big Joe Thomas.
Justin,
Which is a chair
this could be us next year. This could be us.
from in 2020.
We could be being picked. Me and Justin, he really brought that chair on stage, dog.
That looks like
Being quick, I'd like to bring out Matt from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Here we go, Brownies. Here.
Taking the stage, so let's go ahead and take a listen. He said, "Get up out my chair, fat girl." Get back to the
He's like,
stage.
come on, Shawty.
Get back
Come on,
to the
Shawty.
You're wrong for that.
With the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence.
Easy. Too easy. Trevor Lawrence goes number one. Tro goes crazy, bro. Metro doing an interview, MLB content creator, like I said, super fan of the New York Jets, Matthew Faraci, man. How you doing, Matt? What's up, brother? I know you hype right now. I know you hype.
Yeah, ready to go, man.
Let's listen to it.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU.
Zach Wilson, man.
There it is.
Get it.
Zach Wilson. Like you said, Matt, especially when you're repping your team. Is that a Mark Sanchez jersey?
Oh, bro, you already know.
Of course.
Bro, best quarterback in Jets history.
Yeah.
To an AFC championship when he threw like 30 interceptions in a year. Like, the dude is a legend, bro. Like, come on now.
3 months. It's been like 3 weeks, not even. But I know this guy's been nervous like the rest of us sports fans. So let's give a big round of applause to our next guest, Brian. My boy, Brian. How you doing, brother?
What's up, boys?
What's up, man?
Man, I'm tripping balls right now. I've been popping CBD since like 7 a.m. I got absolutely nothing at work today, so I'm down bad over here right now. I'm nervous as hell for the next 5 minutes.
Nervous as hell for the next 5 minutes, like you said. 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 12 seconds on the clock, to be exact. My man, tell everybody the other deal that you had behind closed doors with one of your buddies that ended up happening. That might happen with this pick, man.
There's some clippers being charged. I've been growing this shit out during quarantine. My hair is about as thick as a Kardashian these days. So if we end up picking Mac Jones third, I have to shave this shit off. So
Justin, go ahead and do your little quick shout out real quick.
Yeah, man. So this picture right here is created by the guys over at ESPN. I just wanted to show them some love.
In the 2021 NFL Draft,
a hell of a pick.
the San Francisco 49ers select Trey Lance.
Let's go!
With the 17th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood, tackle, Alabama.
Shook. Everybody's shook. Justin's gone.
He's pissed. What's up, man? How are you feeling, and who do you have the Giants taking now?
That's who I had us taking, honestly, the whole time. I know we got Galladay.
Oh, shit.
Breaking news.
Chicago's trading from 20 to 11 with the Giants.
Get in here, bro. Ty, where you at?
They traded up for Mac Jones. Mike McCorkle goes to Chicago, the new Mitch Trubisky.
And now we're going back to the 22nd, dude.
Oh my gosh. 20th.
I knew the Bears would trade up and get Mac Jones. I'm not going to lie to you.
Wow, bro.
Bulls don't man Jones. God damn.
They're going to go Mac Jones because the Bears suck at making decisions.
You think Mac Jones?
Yeah.
I think the Bears.
Let's get through this real quick before Ty gets on.
I think 100%. Mac Jones goes to the Chicago Bears. They don't trade up for Justin Fields. They're not that smart. They trade up and go Mac Jones.
Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah.
My God.
Is the sad face going to be over for the first time in 80 years?
Leading the Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation in Chicago. His federally qualified health and it will open in 2022.
Oh my God, bro.
Congratulations, Carlos. Please take it away with the Bears selection.
Uh-oh. What are we about to
pick? In the 2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields.
Thank you, Lord.
Okay. Justin Fields going to Chicago. That's why my man Ty, he said they erased it. He said, let's go.
Andy Dalton just got paid a free $10 million, but he lost his job.
Oh,
you do not F this up, bro.
So Ty, what do you have happening, man? Do you guys think that whole franchise in Chicago has changed now with the quarterback?
Yes, because we always needed a good young, accurate, potential scrambling quarterback because we're in a league that you got to have a scrambling quarterback. And I don't care if you're black and white, but it looks like statistically, if you got you a young black potential and you don't see all of it type of quarterback, you got to take it, man. You got to take it. Like Trey Lance is going to be the best quarterback, not just because he looked like Dak can play it. It's because he's fast, he's accurate, and let it be known, only threw one pick. I don't care if he was playing in the Double D League. He's a monster.
Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye. Defensive end, Michigan.
Hey, I love that pick, baby.
Hey, check this out. And then sends him back to the crowd. They're like,
hey, take a look at the pick. You're the first Bengal fans to know.
Well, what happened, Johnny? He's like, you'll see.
Here we go.
With the 5th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft,
No.
the Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase.
Oh! Little lag, so you're gonna see it before any of us. Oh man! I was about to say, I know you guys heard that, bro. Mike is the only one right. Mike is the only one right.
Oh man, it don't matter who got Damn, it's all good. Because Jason Hall went to South Carolina.
Select Pat Surtain Jr.
I told you. That was the highlight tape from the Rick T. Podcast draft extravaganza.
Good one.
Yeah, I loved it, man. It was definitely a fun night, but I definitely needed a break after that, bro. A 4-hour show. I don't know how Skip and Shannon do it every day, all day, every week. It's tough, man. So shout out to people who do that. Shout out to everyone, who's in the business, talking sports all day long. 4-hour shows definitely aren't easy, especially when you're covering the draft and stuff like that. So kudos to everyone in the business. Kudos to you guys. Kudos to all of our guests, other hosts, stuff like that. I had a lot of fun and it was definitely worth it. I'm definitely looking forward to next year's draft extravaganza. Next year is going to be big because me and Justin are going to be there. Like
Jello, let's go Vegas.
Yeah, Jello, you got to come to Vegas with this, bro. But let's get right into it, man. Let's start with some of our topics, and let's start with a topic that everyone has been talking about. It's just been flowing around the NFL rumor lines for quite some time now, and it's easily the biggest topic of the NFL as of now. So Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers reportedly won't return to the Packers unless GM Bryant is fired. So I did hear a couple things on that specific saying he didn't say that. There's no way he would say that. But I do think he would. Another saying, Terry Bradshaw on Aaron Rodgers, and I do have the audio that I will play here in a minute. He said him being that upset just shows me how weak he is, man. He said they're 3-time MVP in the league, and now he's worried about this guy that's drafted last year. And then if they fire the general manager, he'll come back. Are you kidding me? Really, Aaron? That's where this is. But there is 3 destinations that Aaron Rodgers would reportedly go to, one being the 49ers, one being the Broncos, and one being the Raiders. So we all know the 49ers are kind of out of the picture right now. They just drafted Trey Lance. I think the only way they do get him is if they give up Trey Lance, which I don't see them doing. The Broncos and Raiders still in the realm of possibility. I know Jello and Justin are both excited being Broncos and Raiders fans. So let's get right into it. Jello, how are you feeling about Aaron Rodgers getting out of here? And him having those destination spots, Denver being one of them. Are you feeling any specific way? And when you start talking, I'll go ahead and pull up some potential trades that Denver could do. But what are you thinking on the whole situation, bro?
I mean, I'm not really holding my breath with it too much. I mean, if it happens, like it's going to be insane. I'm taking the day off work. I'm celebrating. Like that's going to happen for sure. But I'm not holding my breath. We still have Bridgewater. People can hate on him, but if we get Rodgers, it's going to be nuts. And I mean, I looked at the trades too, and giving up those picks, I wouldn't be too mad about. We drafted our future. So yeah, those are the possible trades right there. And honestly, I wouldn't want to give up Sutton, but if we had to give up Sutton to get Aaron Rodgers, of course you're going to do that. But I think 1 or 3 would be our best option. Because at this point, if we could give up Drew Lock over Von Miller, I'd take that just to have him at that linebacker position. I know he's old, but if they want him, take him. But I mean, I think people were like, this is too many picks, yada, yada, yada. I was like, we drafted our future outside of a quarterback, so that's the consistency we need. Our entire backfield is nuts right now. Surtain is still in the talks about being included in the Rodgers trade. But, I mean, our backfield's nuts. We have linebackers. Our defensive line is crazy when they're healthy. Our offense is there. We got our running back at a steal in the second round, I'd like to say. So, I mean, I'm pumped for if this does happen because, I mean, if Rodgers comes in, this is what we need to just take off and be the number one team. And if we get Rodgers, I think we beat the Chiefs both games in the regular season this year.
Yeah, the AFC North or the AFC West would just be something different.
Herbert and also Derek Carr, and they're all in the same division. That's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy. Justin, swinging it to you, man. Aaron Rodgers, rumored wish list. 49ers kind of out of it. Broncos and Raiders still alive. You being a Raiders fan, Jello being a Broncos fan, you guys have to feel good about it. We just heard what Jello had to say about it, but how are you feeling about Aaron Rodgers possibly? I feel like the Raiders are probably the least likely spot, but it's still possible. It's one of his spots that he said he would go. How do you feel about this whole situation? Do you think John Gruden may pull the trigger on him, or what's your thought on it?
Right. No, I don't think John Gruden pulls the trigger on Aaron Rodgers just yet. I think he's obviously stood tall with Carr for these past 7. Gruden being there for 4 of them, but stood tall with him, kept him starting QB, brought in a guy like Mariota. I don't see them shipping out Carr to bring in Rodgers or shipping out anybody to even, pad up that Q. You can't have Rodgers, Carr, and Mariota. You know what I mean? And I don't really see them going. I don't really see Green Bay being too interested in a guy like Carr. So I think his best scenario is to go to the 49ers, unfortunately, because honestly, I don't really think that Denver has too many people to shop out anyway. They would maybe have to package like a Von Miller and trade picks just like you put up, but maybe also throw in Drew Lock or somebody, just to have him. But I definitely think that his best case scenario is to go to the 49ers because then they can go ahead and take Garoppolo some picks, and then bam, both teams get, a really good quarterback. 49ers get a good quarterback. He gets to go stay in his division, play Russell Wilson, get some revenge on the Packers. It just all makes sense there. But, I was glad that the Broncos draft a QB because I was like, man, we got Herbert, Mahomes. Drew Lock is not bad. That Broncos team always gives us, a good game. So that's why I'm like, if they can stay away from a quarterback for as long as I can for my own good, I'm okay with that.
That's very well said. And I think anyone that's a rival team in the AFC West or, anywhere would kind of feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm glad that the Giants have Daniel Jones. He's good, but he reminds me a lot of Drew Lock. Jalen Hurts is going to be an upcoming player. And then the only other quarterback besides that is Dak, and no one really knows who the quarterback. I think it's going to be Fitzpatrick. Yeah, but no one really knows. It could be Heineke. It could be whoever else they have on that roster. They have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks, but I feel the exact same way you feel, Justin. I'd want, they might have 2, but there's 2 good ones. What is it? Heineke and Fitzmagic, right?
Yeah, because Haskins went to the Steelers. So
You're right. You're completely right on that. So yeah, two players on their roster, 2 quarterbacks on their roster, but both pretty decent quarterbacks. But I'm feeling the same way you're feeling, Justin. I want every team in my division to stay away from a great quarterback like that. And I feel like that's kind of where Denver is leaning, is kind of trying to get a quarterback. Like Jello said, they drafted their whole future outside of a quarterback, which is, they went backwards in, but it's looking good for them. You know what I mean? That team looks great on defense. It looks great in the receiving core. They got their running back in the second round, like Jello said as well. That team is looking outstanding. So it's like, if Denver does get Aaron Rodgers, that whole division is going to be definitely a contender for a Super Bowl. It'll be crazy. I'm feeling the same way you feel, though, Justin. Living in Colorado, the last thing I want to see is Denver fans be piped up over Aaron Rodgers.
It would be cool.
It happened over Tom or Peyton Manning a while ago, and it was the most annoying shit I ever heard in my life. But they were great. They were a good team. They were winning Super Bowls. They were there every year. Like, I couldn't say anything about it. You know what I mean? So we're kind of in that same situation. And being that The rumors are going that he kind of wants to go to the AFC West. Rich Eisen on Rodgers joining Denver, and I guess you could say or joining the Raiders being in the same division. He said that he would actually love to beat Mahomes. He would love to send Patrick Mahomes to the wild card every single year. And I feel like that's potential. If he goes to the Raiders or the Broncos, I feel like that could happen. Like he can send that dude to the wild card every single year. You know what I mean?
Already taken, man. Carr's got that job already, man.
I think so too. I like Derek Carr. I don't think people give him enough credit.
I think if we rank quarterbacks, there goes Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Herbert, just because he's got a lot to prove, but he very well could pass him up. We'll see what goes on. You know what I mean? But and then I'm telling you, Broncos, I think they very well could make some type of deal too with the Packers. If Packers are just fed up and want to get him out, Broncos do have a history of bringing in those good quarterbacks that, you know, are kind of on their way out.
And I'll let you talk here in a second, Joe. I just want to bring this up. Let's not forget that Denver was really, really, really interested in Deshaun Watson, and this whole thing could blow over eventually. And if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, maybe Deshaun Watson's there for Denver to pick up. You know what I mean? So, Joe, go ahead.
Well, I mean, so yeah, the whole Watson thing's out the window, of course, but we still got Bridgewater after that, so we got our number 2 guy, and that's because number 1 was not going to be available. But I wanted to make a comment on the whole Bradshaw thing because there's a lot of older quarterbacks like that making comments like this, but you have to look at it from Rodgers' standpoint. Even look at this year and they took another safety in this year's draft where you use all these first-round picks on defense and quarterbacks, but I mean, what was it, 2015 when they drafted Adams? And ever since then, they've kind of screwed the ball there outside of maybe Aaron Jones, but they let Williams walk. They pay Jones all this money. They don't pick up any other big receivers. You have Scantling, but consistency's not there. You have Lazard, St. Brown. You don't have these guys. And literally, when your quarterback who's been there for 16 years asks, can we get a big receiver? And that's the thing you try to do the least. Of course, you're going to have issues, and he's going to want out. So when your GM makes all those decisions that he basically told Rodgers to bite it, of course he'd want him fired or he's going to leave. Who wouldn't at that point? I mean, that's what happened with Brady in New England. They're like, you're going to do it by yourself with no help in the receiving core or running backs, for example. So,
see, and I think I can speak for all of us saying that the way we grew up in the generation we grew up in and the way football is now, I'm on Aaron Rodgers' side. Like, I feel like he has kind of got the bottom of the boot with the whole, situation there in Green Bay. I don't know if you guys 100% agree, but I would definitely want out if I was in his situation. It's a great team, but it's like at the same time, he's not getting paid very well. He doesn't have weapons at all. He has literally a running back and a receiver. One receiver, one running back. Other than that, it's literally all him. And we all know he's a magician, so he can do it. But at the same time, it's like at that age, what he's done, 3-time MVP, you probably want some help. You probably don't want to keep having to do everything by yourself. So I'm on board with Aaron Rodgers and what you said, Jello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jello. Oh, thanks, man. I was just going to say, I feel like he does have key pieces around him, but they're just young. I mean, he does have Aaron Jones, and then they have Jamal Adams when he's healthy. That's kind of a 1-2 punch right there. Like, Packers don't do bad on offense. It is due to Aaron Rodgers being the guy he is. But, you got guys like Lazard and Tonyan and Valdez-Scantling who do put up numbers, but at the end of the day, they're young. So who knows what they're going to do this upcoming year, So maybe if he's patient, maybe could work it out with the gyms. It's always not bitter. Like, it's a job, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a job. And at the end of the day, sometimes you don't like your managers. You don't like your bosses. At this level, you would think, you can negotiate and get out of there and get away from that to find happiness. But at the same time, man, they're going to want to keep him there to win football games.
I completely agree. But let me go ahead and play this audio from Terry Bradshaw, just saying what he said.
In Green Bay, and you're Aaron Rodgers, and you've accomplished all this. Hey, my friend, I want to remind you something. Tom Brady played his contract out. Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls. Last time I looked, Aaron, you've won 1. There you have it. Yeah. All the a superstar quarterback. I'm jealous, or I'm just stupid, or they come up with all these different. He must have been drinking, And I probably was, but it doesn't make any sense to me why you feel empowered If I had $100 million in the bank and I'd won one Super Bowl and I had all these disagreements with the head coach or the front office and I've had a belly full of it and they're not doing what I want them to do, absolutely I could retire. I got $100 million in the bank. But hey, listen, 95% of Americans don't understand this talk. Listen, 95% of the people in this country who keep this country going don't understand I want to go somewhere else. I'm not happy in Green Bay. They didn't get me a wideout. Well, weren't you the MVP in the league last year? Yes. And I've been the MVP 3 times now. But I'm not happy, and I want to go somewhere else, or I want that general manager fired, or I can't believe they drafted a number one last year at quarterback. I mean, that just ticks me off. I don't understand that kind of thinking. I'm sorry. I'm just a little Rodgers coddled maybe too much. He has no right to want to get the GM fired. What right does he have? No more right than I have to call Eric Shanks and say, tear my contract up. I had a really good year. And you go, well, you've got 4 years left on it. Yeah, but I had a really good year. And I'm Terry Bradshaw, and I'm a superstar. I don't believe in that. You know, I'm old school. You know that. And I do believe that while Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal, look, he's an incredible player. But I can sit here and tell you right now, he has probably the worst footwork I've ever seen for a starting quarterback. I mean, I was talking to John Zarnecki this morning, and I said, he's an amazingly accurate. He protects the football. He puts up monster numbers, but his footwork is all over the place. And I don't know if that's because he got hit a lot. He's out of position and doesn't trust his lineman. Very seldom steps into a throw. Pretty impressive action.
Jello, what are you thinking on that, man?
I mean, Terry said it himself. He's old school. Like, that's just how it is. This isn't, this is a big thing for him. You got to remember, too, the Packers let Corey Linsley and another lineman walk in the offseason this year as well. So not only – and this is the thing. Yeah, you have Tonyan, you have Lazard, but who makes those players better? Rodgers. What did they do before Rodgers? Nothing. Like, outside of Adams at that point. And this is the thing. Yeah, he was MVP because his level of play is at that point. So his level of play is there. He has 3 MVPs and 1 Super Bowl. That's not his fault. His team drops the ball, especially on defense as well there. So, I mean, he has every right. I don't get what Terry's saying there. Terry was a great quarterback in his time, but that was in his time. It is not 1975 anymore. It is 2021. Things are a little different. And Rodgers has every right to be stressed. The last 5 years, they've drafted in the poorest way possible. Like, it's people question their picks all the time. And it wasn't the fact that they took a quarterback, for example. It was the fact that they could have got a huge receiver with that number 1 pick to actually help out the team, but they took a quarterback instead. So at that point, of course you'd want out. Once again, you keep asking your team for this or that, just little things to help you, and they do the exact opposite. Of course, you're going to want out, but Terry's just so far out of this. He really needs to keep his comments to himself at this point. He doesn't understand. He thinks he does, but he doesn't. So it's a lot different 40 years ago, but I mean, he's late 70s right now. So
I literally like to call it, and it can be called so many names, but I like to call it the Brett Favre syndrome, where he needs to have his opinion in everything. He's definitely not the quarterback of the future, but he's always talking. He used to hate on Aaron Rodgers for the longest, even when he wasn't there, and it was just to get his name brought up. And that's exactly what Terry Bradshaw is doing, in my opinion. I don't, like you said, Jello, I just think he's way out of the loop. In his time, that may have been the case. But like you said, it's 2021. Things are different. His level of play is phenomenal, and he's not getting any praise for it at all. What's a trophy compared to, a nice new contract, maybe a nice new receiver to get another Super Bowl? I don't know. I just think Terry Bradshaw's out of it too. Justin, how are you feeling on this, though?
Yeah, man, I think Rodgers is seeing all these other teams building these like super teams, and he's just sitting there like, yeah, that's how Packers are, is old school. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Terry Bradshaw was saying. Like, if you want that type of quarterback, I don't think it's Rodgers, and definitely not at this point. I feel like he has been kind of muted like a Tom Brady or something. Like he's not – like when he does go to like that Tampa or whatever, he's going to be avocado Tom. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be – getting faded on the beach. Like he already is throwing beers out of the backseat of cars and stuff. You know what I mean? But once he gets that release from that company, he's gonna be happy. But to be honest, man, I think it is kind of like what you were saying, like Brett Favre. Whenever Deshaun Watson was requesting the trade, Brett Favre chimed in and said something like, well, back in my day type thing. It's not their day, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's what people say is like throwing rocks from like a because it doesn't correlate right now.
Yep, I completely feel it. Packers first round wide receivers drafted Aaron Rodgers. First 16 seasons in Green Bay, 0. Patriots first round wide receivers drafted in Tom Brady's first 16 seasons in New England, 0. That's the one thing I agree with Terry Bradshaw with is they've kind of been given the same circumstances and there's a 6-ring difference. But then again, there's a big coaching difference too.
Right. And to be honest, besides like a Terry Bridgewater, or we're going to see some of these young guys who kind of do model some older style of play, I think that these two, along with Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, you know, we can go on for days, but these two are kind of like the last of like the old school style quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like the
leather helmets,
pocket passers, like run if I have to, but I run like a 5.4. You know what I mean? I think this is like now we're into Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, the guy you got right on that screen right there. You know what I mean? Hurdling people, you know, barely throws the rock, but when he does, he can, and he can make you miss, you know? So
yeah,
these two are kind of like the last of the breed.
Hey, and I'm gonna pull up this thing or this tweet that Devontae Adams tweeted just because of what you just said, man. Gotta appreciate what you got while you got it, man. So appreciate these last two old school quarterbacks before the whole league is runners. It's Kyler Murray's and Lamar Jackson's and Dak Prescott's. That's what it's turning into. And even these pocket passer quarterbacks now, David or Daniel Jones and Josh Allen, they can run as well. Those guys can take off and run. You know what I mean? Jimmy Garoppolo maybe is a Tom Brady-like, but yeah, I was about to say he's more Tom Brady-like, but his career is kind of coming to an end. So it's really like those quarterbacks who really do sit in the pocket and just sit there, you know, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, all that. Their careers are at the end of their career, and all these quarterbacks that are starting, like Justin said, right to his left, starting to make a name for themselves. Those guys are runners, and they score the ball, and they spin people out, and you know what I mean? It kind of went through a generation in the NFL where it was like, you know, when the Wildcat offense came into effect and there was all kinds of teams with running backs at quarterback and everyone's like, okay, like this is how the league's going to turn out. And then it just kind of went away. And now it's starting to kind of bring the Wildcat effect back, but with real quarterbacks. It's not running backs back there. It's just your normal quarterback that can do the same damn thing. It's kind of going through that phase right now. And I love to see it. It's kind of sad to see it. Like Justin said, it's kind of sad to see these old school quarterbacks go, but it's exciting to see the things that these guys, these newer guys are doing. You know what I mean? And it kind of, I'm even excited about even the number change stuff. I've seen in training camp that a lot of these guys are wearing single digit numbers and I'm excited and it's just getting crazy. You know what I mean? But let's move on to another subject, man. I do want to show you guys the first round draft picks, 1 through 32, just real quick. 1 through 10 right here. As you guys see, Penei Sewell dropped to 7. Jalen Waddle went 6. Kind of a crazy 1 through 10. Patrick Surtain went to Denver. No one expected that. 11 through 20 right here. Justin Fields goes to Chicago, who traded up with the Giants. Rashawn Slater's there in Los Angeles to block Justin Herbert. Mac Jones, maybe to give the Cam Newton a little bit of a, run for his money. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see that. Raiders, Alex Leatherwood. But let's move on to 21 through 30, man. Kwity Paye in Indianapolis. That's a great one. Caleb Farley in Tennessee. Najee Harris and Travis Etienne go back-to-back to Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. And then as you guys see, you got a couple corners, a couple edge rushers, a couple receivers that went off the board as well. And then the last 2 picks of the first round, Jason Owe and Joe Tyrone, edge rusher out of Penn State and Washington, man. So 1 through 32 was kind of interesting. If, like I said, you guys can go back and always watch our draft extravaganza. It was a long show, so definitely be ready for like an hour and a half if you're trying to get through the first 10 picks. But it'll be interesting to see. And I do want to talk a little bit about those top picks. Kyle Pitts, man, he went 4 to the Atlanta Falcons. He is the highest drafted tight end in the common draft era. but there was a couple players around his division that had a couple things to say about him. Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan on Falcons' new tight end Kyle Pitts. He said he's a little light in the ass to be a tight end, man. He said as long as he's detached from the line and not attached to the line, because then I have to detach him from his body.
He wouldn't.
That's what I was like, yeah, okay, with your old ass, but I don't.
It's all for clout. Like that's straight up what this is.
He's got the Brett Favre. He's got the Brett Favre going on.
Not really Brett Favre, but I mean it's just more. You try to rile up the rookies at that point. This man's. This ain't once again. This is like the different style of tight ends nowadays. Your tight ends aren't like 280 pounds trying to block for you all game. He's that tight end who's gonna make you miss and fall down and go cry to your mama all day, kind of thing. So. Yeah. I think Pitts is going to have a great career. And the fact that they didn't take a quarterback and they got him instead, how could you be mad with that as a Falcons fan?
I'm happy with that too, Justin. How you feeling about him saying he'll detach him from his body?
I like it, man. It reminds me of Madden. You know what I mean? Like you're playing your season and then you get that like rivalry text. And you're like,
yeah, he texts you.
And so every time you see him, you're like, all right, now you got to stop him from sacking the quarterback twice or something. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be good. And I think, like Jello said, like Pitts, he might not be. I mean, he's huge. You know what I mean? But he might not be as big as other tight ends. But he's only gonna get bigger, and he's quick, bro. Like Cam Jordan, just worry about what you got to do on the line, man. Don't even try to talk about it because this isn't a blocking tight end anyway, man. This is a receiving tight end. Like he can't.
That's what I was about to say. What's the odds that they keep him on the line anyway? Why wouldn't you put him out? That would be the smartest thing to do is slide him out.
20 times out of 10,
Ridley, Julio. They don't need
20 times out of 10, Pitts is boom, hitting him one time with the arm, getting him off balance, and then looking for the ball, bam, touchdown right over that Saints defense because they're gonna need some help this year. Sorry.
So it's literally, would you rather have Kyle Pitts versus Cam Jordan on the line, or would you rather have Kyle Pitts versus a linebacker in the slot? You know what I'm saying? That's every time, like you said, 20 out of 10, easy.
You want him on the sideline, man. That's a big guy.
That's a huge guy. He's going to be lethal. Moving on, Jamar Chase on being drafted to Cincinnati. He said, I'm going to break every record they have. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to be done. Also, Joe Burrow texted Jamar Chase before the draft, even started to get his bags packed. So it was getting intense. We talked about it a little bit. Spike said, yeah, I think he talked him into drafting Jamar Chase. And I was like, yeah, hell no. But this right here, he texted him before the draft even started and said, yo, pack your bags, pack a winter coat because Cincinnati's a little cold. You know what I'm saying? So, Justin, how are you feeling on this, man? Him saying he's going to break every record they have, which is, I'm pretty sure all of them are like Chad Ochocinco's right now. And then Joe Burrow texting him before the draft even started saying,
I think it's funny at the end he said, I don't know how it's going to be done to it because honestly, I don't know how it's going to be done either with that damn offense, man. I ain't breaking no records. They got T. Higgins. You know, if anybody's breaking records, it's T. Higgins and damn, man, I'm spacing him. What's that other receiver that they got? The other rookie last year.
He was like,
Boyd.
Boyd. Yeah, Tyler Boyd is
cool. Got Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, man. Like they got some solid receivers. I don't see him breaking. I mean, he might break like one record, but I don't know, man. And right there, what Jalen just said, you know, Joey B's got to be on his stuff for Jamar Chase to break some records because we already know if he goes out,
it's gonna be nasty, bro. I think they should have took Penei Sewell. Jello, how are you feeling about him saying he's gonna break all these records and Joe Burrow texting him before the draft even started, man?
I mean, in the end, I'm not really surprised, and I could see Chase doing this. So. The Bengals did a little work with their offensive line, nothing crazy. I think Sewell would have been a better pick, but having Chase and the chemistry Burrow and Chase have, I mean, look at every other big receiver. Him and Burrow and Chase did more in 1 year than these other receivers did in their entire college career there. So I think the chemistry's there. So you have Boyd, and this is the thing. You have Higgins, Boyd, you have distractions. If they wanted to use Chase, they can. They're going to double someone else and get him down the field, so it's just another threat. So, once again, if you put 2-3 people on one guy, someone's always going to be open. So, I mean, you really have to look at that. They're going to make a lot of linebackers have to play in coverage at that point. They have a couple solid tight ends that they can use as well. The run game is going to be the one that's going to be hit or miss, whether they can stay healthy or not. And that's why I think they did end up going receiver here, is due to the fact that they really need it. I mean, I think Burrow can stay healthy this year. I mean, he said it himself. He's stronger than he was before. So it's just adversity that everyone faces in the NFL. Everybody goes through this. Everyone's going to miss games or you get hurt. Like, that's just part of it. So I think the line's really going to step up, protect him this year. But the thing is, having those receivers too means he could get the ball out of his hands a little quicker as well. So that'll always be a good thing for him as well. And I don't think he's playing Chase Young next year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they'll be good.
So he can stay alive.
Yeah, so EW8045 said, who's going to throw the ball to Chase? Burrow will be hurt if they have no line. Bad pick. So we're all sitting here saying that, but I feel like because it's from a Dolphins fan that it's like still like I'm booty hurt. You know what I mean? Like you guys wanted Chase so bad and they picked him and you're like, that was a horrible pick by them. But you guys would have picked him. You know, you guys don't have the same line situations as them. But honestly, Jello, I completely disagree with you, bro. I think I agree with my dad. I think Joe Burrow is going to be screwed, bro. I agree with you on the fact that that running game is kind of hit or miss. So they're like, okay, I don't want to risk that hit or miss. Let's just be hit on the throw game. Like, let's get a receiver so that way we can throw the ball. But, dude, if Joe Burrow can't stay protected, he is done for. In that division, do you know who's in that division? The Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, all lethal defenses. All three of them have top 5 defenses. Joe Burrow is going to be done for.
And the Steelers' defense wasn't too good last year either. But
all I'm saying is they went like 11-0 before they lost.
He did get hurt by the Redskins' defense that hurt, 3 quarterbacks last year? I'm pretty sure. So, and that's the thing, is just like they're going to find ways to protect him. But once again, I was like, there's going to be so much doubt over his head, but I mean, Burrow was incredibly solid and consistent before he went down, and I don't think he goes down this year. I think they're going to work on a lot of things of just scrambling as well, if need be. But I think this line really – all right, let's put Garrett Bowles, for example, for the Broncos. He couldn't do anything until his job was on the line when they wouldn't pick up his 5th-year option. Look what happened. He became the #1 left tackle, got that contract. I think that's what they're going to do with this line. What's a better way to get your players to play better than threaten their jobs at that point? Because if you're getting cut from the Bengals, how many teams are going to be excited to pick you up?
Yeah, that's facts.
Same with the Broncos line, it's the same thing there. But there's going to be a lot of doubt until it happens. But, you know, I'm a Broncos fan, but I think Burrow, having the people he has and the way his defense has picked it up, I think they'll be good. I'm not saying they're going to be like playoffs and beating this and that. I don't think Burrow goes down next year or any year for next year.
What's up, Oakley?
Just saying hi.
Hi.
What's up with that? Deacon came in here and then Christian ran away. I was trying to get him to hang up.
He's like,
Not today. Not today.
you want to go say hi? No? Okay, whatever. But I do agree with both of you guys in some aspects. My dad says I'm wrong on the fact that he's jealous, but I do think that you guys would have rather Chase than Waddle. But hey, I could be wrong. But let's move on, man. Jimmy G was the first person to text #3 pick Trey Lance after the Niners drafted him. And that was by GM John Lynch. He said that. Jimmy Garoppolo says he's ready to help rookie quarterback Trey Lance. A lot of speculation has been said, and I don't know if I completely agree with it. That's saying that Trey Lance isn't even going to start until week 8, if that's even a possibility. I don't think he'll start right off the bat just by them kind of being a little loyal to Jimmy G. But I do think he'll probably be a starter by like week 3 or week 4, and they're not going to look back. Why else would you draft a quarterback this early? And I get Jimmy G is good, and I understand drafting a quarterback behind Tom Brady to learn or Drew Brees to learn or something like that. But Jimmy G, who still wants to be a starter, who still has that fucking competitive spirit in him, he's not like, there's no way he's just going to be like, I'll teach you and I'll let you take my job. Like, he might teach him a couple things, but he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to challenge you. Like, this is going to be a battle till the death. I promise you that. But I do think Trey Lance is going to win this one in the end. I do think Jimmy G is probably not going to be a 49er by the time the next season ends. But man, it could, like I said, there's so much speculation around it. But Justin, how are you feeling on this? Saying GM John Lynch saying that, you know, it was heartwarming that he was the first person to text him and that Jimmy G is ready to help rookie quarterback Trey Lance. How are you feeling on this whole thing?
Yeah, so heartwarming, so heartwarming. He's about to take his job, man. Trey Lance is about to push Jimmy G out if the 49ers are smart, they go get Aaron Rodgers and then still sit Trey Lance behind Aaron Rodgers, let him learn from a way better quarterback than Jimmy
That's
G.
what I'm saying. I like seeing great quarterbacks teach young quarterbacks, but Jimmy G is not a great. So continue.
He froze.
I was about to say, what the hell is going on with him, man? He's on his laptop and everything. I don't know, man. Jello, we'll swing it to you, bro. How are you feeling on the whole speculation about, Trey Lance, Jimmy G being the first one to text him, stuff like that? Same question to you.
I mean, you have to look at it this way. You want to talk about quarterbacks going down? That is Jimmy G. He's been hurt, 3 or 4 out of his 5 years in San Francisco now? He's missed multiple games at that point. So I'm just going to throw that one out there. But of course he's going to want to be that guy, because this is the thing. The better he looks for the franchise, the better for him at that point. If he really helps Trey Lance and he's that quarterback, the Niners are more likely to keep him if Trey Lance does take his job at that point. Because Bethard went to the Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so.
Outside of that, you got Nick Mullins. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where he's looking to keep his job at this point. So, and that's that. So if he does get taken, he wants to keep his job. He's never been the guy. So, I mean, he did take him to a Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, but I really think that defense led him that year. But
I agree.
It's just a way. It's job security. The better he looks for the team, the better. Because look at your GM, John Lynch, is over there talking about it. That it was heartwarming you did this, and he's gonna be much more willing to work with you if Lance takes your job, and they're more willing to keep you on the roster, kind of thing. So, I think that's the biggest part there, in my opinion. Especially
it might just be what GMs want people to hear too. It might not even be true. It might just be like, I'm going to say this because I want people to calm down.
Right. And I think a big thing is just, I think it's more for Garoppolo to look better due to the fact that if not, you'd be like, just keep it on the DL. Like you would have talked to your GM, stuff like that. Like this doesn't really need to be talked about, but now it's everywhere. So it's just that thing. And other quarterbacks will see this too. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where now he's that guy. He's not like, Rodgers or even Favre, for example, who are saying, I'm not willing to work with this quarterback. I'm not willing to teach him. He's got to, but in Rodgers' sake, he had to learn it the hard way. So he's just passing the tough love. But it's that same thing there. Now every team thinks he's a good guy. He's willing to help out quarterbacks. So it's really good job security there as well for him. So we'll see how that goes.
I agree, man. Let's move on. Reggie Wayne, ex-Colts receiver, says that Devontae Smith will win Rookie of the Year. I'll start it with you, Jello. Do you agree with this?
I mean, I like where Wayne's coming with this at this point because, I mean, this is what I said. Like I said, Hurts gets a wide receiver like Smith, for example. They can do magical things out on the field. If Herbert can do what he did with Keenan Allen right now, then I think Hurts can do some crazy stuff with Devonta Smith. So I don't think it's enough to win Rookie of the Year, and this is why. You have to look at that receiving core in Jacksonville and the backfield. Etienne and James Robinson. You got Marvin Jones. You got DJ Chark. You got Laviska Shenault. You got Colin Johnson. I think the team, outside of the Jaguars' defense, the shine's going to be on the offense, and I think that's why Lawrence wins Rookie of the Year. It is just due to the fact what he's going to do with that team. So
yeah, he'll definitely change the franchise.
Exactly, and that's just that weird thing. And a lot of times it does go to quarterbacks. Like you really have to do something special. And I just don't know if play calling is going to be there for the Eagles for Smith to shine that much. I think he's going to do incredibly well. I think he's going to top 1,000 yards, no problem. Probably right around, I'm guessing 9 touchdowns with that offense. But I don't think it'll be enough to win Rookie of the Year with just how strong this class is. But shit, I could be totally wrong. Mac Jones could start for New England and come out and win it somehow. That's another thing we just don't know. But I put my money on Lawrence.
Okay, I like it.
Wayne's coming from him. Smith kind of plays like Reggie, so I like where he's going with that, though.
That's how I was feeling, too. I was like, he kind of reminds me of a Reggie Wayne. I feel like that's why Reggie Wayne's saying that. You know what I mean? Justin, is swinging it to you. Do you agree with what Reggie's saying about Devontae Smith on how he will win Rookie of the Year?
Right. Yeah, I don't think Devontae Smith will win Rookie of the Year with the Eagles. And like Jello was saying, this is a padded draft class. There's too many quarterbacks for a receiver to win Rookie of the Year. Just in my eyes, I think that they're gonna start racking them up, quarterback stats and all that. You know, it's just a ongoing pattern that quarterbacks have won, or defensive players. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good cornerbacks too who are going to step up and are going to be in some positions to make a difference on some of these teams. So we will see, you know, what goes on. But I definitely think it could be a rookie on defense winning that award, or it could be a quarterback 100%.
Yeah.
Not DeVonta Smith, man.
I don't think it'll be DeVonta Smith either. I think that's just kind of reaching, but whatever. Moving on, man. Lions are signing Arkansas running back and last chance U-star Rakeem Boyd, man. So another last chance U-star in the NFL. Let's go to a couple other players that were undrafted that are having a great career so far, and that did have a great career. So first off, from last year, man, salute to James Robinson. Over 1,000 rushing yards, 10 total touchdowns, number 3 rusher in the NFL, number 4 fantasy rusher in PPR, and then most scrimmage yards ever for an undrafted rookie, man. And that was just last year, man. He went undrafted. No one even knew his name. By week 2, you knew his name, and you knew you wanted him in fantasy, and you knew you had to watch the Jaguars run game. You know what I mean? That was one thing that they had positive. And then they drafted Travis Etienne this year to go on top of that. Both great running backs. I'm excited to see what they do, man. But a couple other free agents that did have great careers or are having great careers: Adam Thielen, James Robinson, Austin Eckler, Doug Baldwin, Chris Harris Jr., Antonio Gates, James Harrison, Jason Peters, Young Ho Koo, Philip Lindsay, Michael Bennett, Wes Welker, Kurt Warner, Tony Romo, Adam Vinatieri, Warren Moon, Robbie Anderson, and Rod Smith, bro. All current players and former players that have had some sort of great career at their position for their team, and they're still just trucking it. Everyone knows who Adam Thielen is. You know what I mean? And no one knew he was undrafted. Everyone was like, he's probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick, probably.
Exactly.
No one even looked at him. White boy receiver. Everyone was like, yeah, nah. Now he's one of the top receivers on the Minnesota Vikings, one of the best receivers to have in fantasy. It's crazy, man. And if we look at this, number 1 draft picks in the Hall of Fame, 14. Undrafted free agents in the Hall of Fame, 17. So it's kind of a speculation that it's almost better to have a free or undrafted free agent that think they're going to have a better career than a 1st round pick. Sometimes they just don't turn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think it has to do to something. Maybe they got more to prove. You know what I mean? They got passed on in the draft, so they finally get an opportunity, and they're not going to let it slip. So then they go on, show out, and sometimes those are the better players that you want, because people in the draft, I think the draft needs to change a bit. Like, I don't know if the 40-yard dash really tells you how fast a guy can run on the field. You know, I don't know if the shuttle really tells you how fast a guy can go from one sideline to the other. It clearly shows the abilities and the capabilities, and it's a good because it's on a small margin. But I think they do something like fan-controlled football and start doing, just a little quick walkthrough, or, a couple quick games to see who's really competing here and there.
Yeah, I feel that 100%, man. So undrafted free agents, definitely keep an eye on. And there was a couple Oregon players that I will keep an eye on that went undrafted. But let's move on, man. We have one final subject here in the NFL, and then we'll move on to MLB and NBA. But this one is kind of interesting. Broncos offensive tackle Ja'Wuan James could lose $20 million after tearing his Achilles. He did tear it outside of the facility. I think he was at his own personal gym doing his thing. But this is the statement. NFL says teams have no contractual obligation if players get hurt on their own, bro. And there was a couple players that, came out and said something about that. So Pat Mahomes said, so if they're going to take his contract for working out in the offseason, Le'Veon Bell said, huh? Tyreek Hill said, so we just do not work out or what? Like, what's going on here? And then Chris Conley said, half of these replies don't understand players' offseason obligations. Many don't understand that you are expected to work out when you're away from this facility. He wasn't going against his contract, LOL. Jello, you being a Broncos fan, I kind of want to get your opinion on this. How do you feel about the NFL saying that players, if they get hurt on their own, they do not have to pay them, they can do their own thing? I don't think it used to be this way. There used to be a specific thing in their contract of things you couldn't do. And I don't ever think working out at home or at a gym was one of them. You know what I mean? It was always like, you can't ride a motorcycle. you can't do that, like stupid little things that just kept you safe in life. But working out when they literally are professional athletes, I don't think was ever in there, man. So how do you feel about the NFL maybe taking his contract away? This guy might lose his career just for trying to train for his career, man.
Well, I don't know. This is where it's tough. Like, I guess you have to take it by player basis. We got him 4 years ago? Hurt, sat out last year, and hurt again. So for me, by the situation at that point, was he doing something that he wasn't supposed to? That's a total possibility. Like, I don't want to see players lose their contracts because they worked their whole life for it. But with his history in Denver, playing one game in 4 years, was he doing something outside of what he was supposed to? Like, was he doing crazy workouts that, if someone was asking him not to or asking him to avoid due to previous injuries and stuff like that? Was he going too hard to try to get into it? It's all things you have to look at as well as the team. But once again, I don't want to see the players lose their contract. But when you have previous injuries and you're outside of the team's facility, I can see where they could have an issue with it because you have previous injuries. So your personal trainer is going to push you a lot harder on certain things than your team would, because the trainer's trying to see you build that back up where your team's trying to protect what you've already hurt. Like, you look at, I'm trying to think of the best one. I guess we could go with Burrow, for example. Like, he had a workout structured by the Bengals at that point to make what he hurt better, not push him to the limit. And I think this is just James. There's a lot of players that, of course you're going to work out outside the team facility, especially now with COVID and stuff like that. You're not going to the voluntary workouts and stuff if they don't pick up the COVID protocols, and you rather work out on your own, so go ahead and do it. I think this just is really a player-by-player basis because we don't know exactly what happened with James, because I've seen this happen with players before, and a lot of players deserve to be paid. I think this is just that one sticky situation where it's been a consistency thing. This has happened many times before. Is there something we don't know? Because there wasn't a whole lot put out, just the fact that he was hurt and this really popped up. So we don't know what else is going on here to where this really got brought up. The Broncos definitely could have gone to the NFL and asked him at this point, like, is he required to get paid even though this or that? So I think this is just due to the player himself and the fact that he's played one game in 4 years more than anything.
Yeah. Justin, swinging it to you, man. How do you feel about the NFL saying that if players get hurt on their own turf, that they don't have to pay them? And then, like Jello said, this guy's played one game in 4 years. I did not know that. But the NFL may be taking Ja'Wuan James's $20 million contract after him tearing his Achilles just working out, man. How do you feel on it?
Right. It's unfortunate, but a contract's a contract. I'm a firm believer if you're going to sign a contract, you should read it front and back. Know it like the back of your hand, because whenever you're dealing with something like $20 million, you might want to know what all entails for you to get that, So it is unfortunate that he got hurt. I think that, people are compassionate and they have hearts. They're going to see what's going on, see the situation, and, he's going to get some money or a little bit of his contract and probably another shot if he can heal up that Achilles. But as long as this guy wasn't subbing in for his brother on a semi-pro football team or something, I don't think that they're going to yank his whole contract. You know what I mean? Like,
they did research into it. They're like, his brother actually had a side cramp in his semi game, so he stepped in.
Yeah, like he's there blocking semi-pro player. He's just trying to get some extra reps, if that stuff won't fly, or if he's like bouncing around that sky zone and falling off or something, like sometimes they're like, man, like, probably shouldn't have been doing that. But if he was in his gym with his trainer, one-on-one, hitting the bag, misplant his foot, tears his Achilles, that stuff happens and it's unfortunate. So I hope that they can get to the bottom of it. And, contracts, man, they'll get you. They either help you or hurt you, but you got to read them things.
Well, look at Carson Wentz a couple years ago. It was like a non-contact injury when he tore his ACL in his knee. Like, you remember that? Like, he threw the ball in the game and then his knee was just, you know what I mean? So like you said, that stuff happens, man. It can happen to anybody, bro. But let's move on. Let's move on to a different sport, man. MLB. Let's get through this. It has been 5 weeks in the NFL or MLB season, and there have already been 4 no-hitters. There's barely like a couple in a season usually. Joe Musgrove, Carlos Rodon, John Means, and then recently Wade Miley. Oh, geez. And then this other guy threw 7 innings with a no-hitter until a hit. Did not count as a no-hitter per MLB rules because someone did get on base or something like that, man. But 5 weeks in and there's 4 no-hitters. That's literally every week in a couple days there's a no-hitter. And that barely there's barely 1 or 2 a season. So it's crazy. 2021 MLB season. These pitchers are out here definitely doing their thing. Justin, me, and Jason, and Jalen just got the MLB The Show game, so he's going to be joining us. But we've been out there pitching our ass off. You know what I mean? So I feel like I need to pitch a no-hitter now. Seeing all these guys out here doing no-hitters and they're making it look easy in real life. Like, why can't I do it in the video game then? Like, it's not that easy. So, you know what I mean? So definitely give these guys their credit. No-hitters are definitely not easy to do, especially when you're pitching the whole game, throwing 90s, pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch, changing it up, and no one can get on base off of you. That's just outstanding. So like I said, 5 weeks into the MLB season, 4 no-hitters. It's just amazing, man. Jello, how do you feel on that?
I mean, this is crazy, but I think a lot of it goes to what happened after last year. So MLB was looking into the ball situation and why so many home runs were hit in the past couple of years. So I think that being changed up as well has definitely helped here in the no-hitters at that point. I mean, you could have said the balls were iced last year and it was easier to hit, yada, yada, yada. So I wonder if they really looked into it and there was issues with the balls that were made the last few years or something like that. So they got it back to where it needs to be, and it makes it a little easier now, fly outs, whatnot, stuff like that. But I mean, this is crazy that right about every 10 days there's a no-hitter. And a lot of them aren't from your big name pitchers, I mean, Bumgarner was on there for the 7 inning, but I mean, outside of that, you're not seeing any of these other big name pitchers being the ones getting these no-hitters. I mean, you have Means and Miley and stuff like that, so it's a little crazy watching these guys do it, but it's cool to see, especially Musgrove, because he ended up in the MLB Hall of Fame being the first Padres pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter as well. So that was really, really cool.
I like Joe Musgrove for real. I'm about to play Justin at MLB someday and just be Joe Musgrove and see if I can do it. Padres, baby. Justin, but how are you feeling about this? 5 weeks in, 4 no-hitters, MLB 2021 is going wild. How are you feeling on it?
I think it's awesome, man. I think that it makes the game exciting to watch, although they are kind of boring for the most part sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just 0-0 till like inning number 5. Then the team that's pitching the no-hitter finally, you know how it goes. But
yeah,
I mean, they are fun games to watch. MLB has been, on point, man. My favorite player this year right now is Shohei Ohtani, man. That dude out of Japan. He plays for the Angels, man. He's a killer. But anyway, I think that this might have something to do with baseball being gone for a year. You know what I mean? Like, this was one of the only sports, there was a lot. Basketball hit the bubble, baseball, they weren't allowed to do much. So I think that these players were just like, training their ass off. And then when they get the opportunity to play, they're going to show out. And that's why they're pitching these no hitters and stuff like that. So shout goes out to them, man. They're doing it. And I think we're going to see a couple more.
Yeah, man, I definitely think we'll probably see a couple more, maybe even from one of these 4 pitchers, maybe even Bumgarner is going to be in there. He's easily the best pitcher out of all of them. So I think your guy is going to definitely probably maybe have a chance to get one. But let's talk about the first 2 teams to get to 20 wins this year. And it wasn't really teams that I expected, man. The A's, man, 20 wins first, followed by the Boston Red Sox. They hit 20 wins as well. So first 2 teams to 20 wins, they're definitely on a streak, but let's not count out the teams that have been on a roll in the last 10 games. We got Cleveland, who's been on a 8-2 streak the last 10 games. The Yankees 7-3, St. Louis 7-3. 7-3 for these boys. 7-3 for the Texans. Jesus Christ. Tampa Bay is 7-3. You know what I mean? Like, all these teams 7-3 just going absolutely crazy. Baseball, like I said, it's phenomenal to watch this year. 2021, like Justin said, it's kind of boring to watch, but this year it's not. It's really not. These guys have been out there balling. Like Justin said, they've been out here just training their ass off. So MLB definitely going to be exciting to watch, and I will tell you what games will be played at the end of this podcast, man. But let's move on to the NBA, man. Jello, I know this is your thing. Rick Carlisle moves up to 15th on the all-time leaders in regular season coaching wins after his Saturday win. I don't remember who they're playing, but he is the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. So he moved up to 15. And at 1 still is Don Nelson, over 1,300 wins, man. So this guy's got quite some wins to go. Don't know if he's ever going to reach these guys like Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, Lenny Wilkins. These guys are great coaches. They've coached for quite some time, and they have those wins under their belt to show it in the stats. So shout out to Rick Carlisle, but you got to keep working, my man. You're definitely not going to get into the top 10, but shout out to you, bro. But let's move into this, Jello. I do want to show you this because I know this will excite you, man. This is updated. NBA.com's key race to the MVP ladder. Nikola Jokic, he's solid at 1. Joel Embiid is solid at 2, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is solid at 3. I think there's only like 5 or 6 games left in the season. I think this is the way it's going to end up, man. So how are you feeling about Denver possibly getting Nikola Jokic to win MVP for Denver? And actually, before you answer, Nick Wright, he is one of the hosts on like Get Up, one of the ESPN shows or whatever. He went on a rant the other day and said why it's so bad for Jokic to win MVP, and it's because it's bad for like NBA ratings aren't high in Denver, so they should give it to Philly or to Giannis or to anything like that. So how are you feeling on the Joker about to win MVP and maybe potentially what Nick Wright was saying about that?
Well, it's weird. We're not a big market, but you know how many Nuggets fans live outside of Denver? Ta-da! Who knew that was a thing? And the NBA has the biggest bandwagon fans, i.e. Lakers, Bulls, so on and so forth. But you have to look at it this way. Jokic has more double-doubles this year than Embiid has played games. So, I mean, that's kind of an important little tidbit there when you consider this. Last time I checked, Jokic was like negative 500, Embiid was like plus 500, something like that. People just love to hate on Denver. They always do. But we still went to the conference finals. We still took out the Clippers when everyone said we wouldn't. We're still the dogs. We still got dogs in a fight. We're 10-3 without Jamal Murray, without our second best player. We're still 10-3 in the last 13 games since he's gone down. People just love to hate. Jokic absolutely deserves to win it. People get on their high horse that it should always be LeBron or Giannis. Milwaukee's not a big basketball town either. That's a football town. So on, that's a huge state for football. Denver is bigger for the Broncos, yes, but look what the Nuggets are doing. So many players that play here don't get the respect they deserve, and they don't stay. I mean, you have to look at that. Iguodala is a perfect example when he was in for Denver. He plays in Denver, doesn't really get the respect. We're not a big market team, so he moves and becomes an NFL NBA Finals MVP. But people just love to hate. It's always been like that. It'll always be like that. We could win the next 3 championships, and people will still find some way to hate because, this person's on this team or this person's on this team. 80% of the NBA fans couldn't even tell you like 8 players on their team, like for example, because it's so many bandwagon fans. It's who's doing better at this point.
I'm a big Celtics fan, but none of my favorite players are on the Celtics.
Exactly. Well, look at the Jazz and the Suns, small market teams, and look how many all these fans coming out of nowhere now that they're winning. That's how people are. I've been with the Nuggets since we sucked. I've been there for the Thuggets. I was there for, just when we weren't winning, when we had Ty Lawson, when we were going through Mozgov, Costa Koufis.
Oh, you seen Birdman in Denver jersey?
He's a dick, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that one out.
He's a dick.
Well, so I went to high school with Rocky, who's the mascot for the Nuggets. Well, his kids, I should say. So we used to have players come to our school from time to time. So I've been a few of them, but you have to look at where we're at now. We've drafted all our superstars outside of Aaron Gordon now. Like, at this point, what we've done in the last 3 years, how are we not getting respect at this point? But once again, people just love to hate. So, but I think Jokic is going to win it, no doubt about it. I put all my money on Jokic winning it because he deserves it. All right, here's another fun thing, too. Top 5 for points, rebounds, assists, and steals as a center, steals, plus points per game, steals per game, assists per game, rebounds per game. And he's the only one, you take the top 10 out of every single one of those categories, he's the only one to never miss a game.
Jokic for MVP, man. I think all three of us here are on the MVP thing for Jokic. Like I said, I live in Colorado, so I feel like I do get a little bit more attention to Jokic that like maybe like a New York resident does or something like that. But even if I lived somewhere else, I would be drawn to Jokic's game. Like his game is magnificent. The same reason I like Jokic is the same reason I like Luka. I'm not a Dallas Maverick fan, but I love the way Luka plays the game. I love the way he handles the situations. You know what I mean? And he reminds me a lot of the Joker. But yeah, definitely Jokic for MVP. Don't know why Nick Wright was hating on him like that. But Justin, how you feeling about this, man? Jokic steady at 1 with about 5-6 games left. It's probably going to be a Denver MVP, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, man, he's clearly the statistical leader. Shows it on the court. That guy's running up and down the court damn near all 4 quarters, sweating, red, dunking the ball, stealing the ball, passing the ball, you know what I mean, shooting threes, doing layups, jumpers, you name it, you know what I mean? And he's the most consistent out of all the people in the MVP race, so why not give it to him? Jokic for MVP. Who cares about ratings and basketball towns and all that, man? There's so many basketball towns that aren't even basketball towns, that are baseball towns, that are baseball towns, that are football. You know what I mean? It's all hoopla and who says what, but Jokic puts up the numbers, so that's who needs to be MVP. Yeah,
I completely agree, man. It's getting intense too with this play-in tournament about to happen. The Lakers are in that right now. It's going to get intense, man. But let's move on to our last couple subjects before we get out of here on a short Mother's Day special, man. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Got your hat. I got your hat.
His life is over.
Damn.
Bro, do you see this? This picture looks like it was literally taken in like 1940, like during like a slave riot or something. Like it looks so bad, bro. But and the messed up part about the gotcha hat situation and them going after him and chasing him and stuff, he's not even fighting Jake. He's not even fighting he's not fighting Jake, he's fighting Logan.
Yeah, man. He was picking at him the whole thing. So like they got there. Jake Paul is on the bottom of the stage, and then he's talking crap about Floyd Mayweather's Air Forces. Like he's like, he should be a billionaire. He's rocking Air Force Ones, like just clowning him. He goes up and unties Floyd Mayweather's shoe while he's on stage, all kinds of stuff. So already going at it. And then finally, when they got head to head, he pulled that stunt and took his hat. And I got tweeted, man, I think only like females and little kids take hats. I think that was just messed up.
Oh, I'd be pissed. I think it kind of was a setup to go because pound on pound, best fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather. If someone took my hat and I was like that, he would have been sleeping. He would have been done for. And Floyd Mayweather was like chasing and grabbing, and the security's just like holding him around the neck. Like it just seemed like a setup type of deal.
That's what he wanted, yeah.
It definitely seemed like a setup.
I the setup by Jake at that point. We have to look at Mayweather's side of this too. What if he throws one of those haymakers and he hits somebody else? Then he's screwed at that point. But I mean, his security landed a punch on him, and I mean, Jake. I mean, lost the tooth, got a black eye. He got his
his eye was all up.
It's much easier for a security guard to take the heat someone else than a professional fighter where your hands are lethal weapons. Because how easy you hit somebody and now it's assault with a deadly weapon because your hands are signed up as at that point. And so I think that's where Logan he was trying to take care of the situation without having to take care of the situation. And he let his security guards did him well there, kept him out of trouble, kept this fight going. When Mayweather's gonna go 3-second knockout, like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, 100%. They chased his ass down for like 5 minutes, and his security already knew, so he was holding him, and then Floyd's security was like mobbing on him, so it was crazy. Yeah, Floyd got in some hits. Like he was genuinely mad. So like when people say it was a setup on Jake Paul's part, but all those emotions and all that was like 100% real. Like he was pissed. Yeah.
I would have been mad. He did a couple interviews after that or whatever, and the dude was all, he took the hat, no cap. Floyd's all, that was a good one. He did take my hat, no cap. He did.
But Paul brothers are all about clout. You have to remember Jake Paul or was it Logan? One of them. They were on Disney Channel coming up. They got kicked off Disney Channel because they're stupid. That's just how it is. Like they're like, I'm not gonna throw that word out, but they're just dumb as hell. Like they're those guys who think they're cooler than they really are, and Mayweather's about to put him in his place. He fought Nate Robinson. Let's throw that out there. Look at the size difference there. And that's Nate Robinson. Like, this is Floyd Money Mayweather.
Let's be real. Floyd took down the Big Show in the past. You guys remember that? He's like, like broke his nose in the show, and then they were WrestleMania, and Floyd's like in boxing gloves.
Well, everyone keeps saying his weight and his height, like and Paul's reach has an upper hand with Mayweather. It doesn't. Mayweather's undefeated for a reason. He fought 50 plus real ass dudes to get where he's at, and this is some petty ass little rich white kid who hasn't worked a day in his life and earned everything he has. Mayweather's about to have it, and it's going to be great.
Stop.
Jake Paul's like, I used to landscape for $10 an hour for my grandma.
Yep. And that's just how it's the same reason I think, I was talking about this with Zach Wilson. It's the same thing. They were given so much throughout their life. They really didn't have to work for much. So where is it going to take him in his end? Fighting Ben Askren, some 40-year-old wrestler who doesn't fight. He's always picked the fights, and now he picked the wrong one. I still want to see Amanda Nunes get in there and just one kick knock out one of them too, but I know that'll never happen.
Yeah.
But Mayweather's about to kill this. Where in the world does he think he has any chance? Because he's been training for 1 year to get to this point, and Mayweather's been training for 25, 30, 35. Like, you really have to look at it that way. Mayweather came out the womb throwing fists, so it's what he does for a living. It's why he does so well. That's why he can keep $1 million on him at any point in time. So,
yeah, man, I think Logan's gonna have to get in there and actually boxing, and that's what's gonna be crazy.
Yep, it's gonna be great to watch.
Like Mayweather's boxed the greats, Pacquiao, Canelo, De La Hoya, all of them. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to see it. The size difference scares me, but I think that Floyd's skill will outmatch him, man.
Exactly, and his speed too, because Paul's low on that end. So
yeah, I think Jake's pretty messed up for trying to steal the clout from Logan by doing all this stuff to Floyd. You know what I mean? So because I seen a video where Logan's like running from Floyd's security and all kinds of stuff, and he's walking away, and he's like, "Man, what did he do? What did he do?" Like Logan Paul was talking about Jake Paul because he didn't even have a clue that he did the whole gotcha hat thing and all that.
Gotcha hat.
I don't even think that Jake Paul is allowed to go to the fight now. Like, he got banned.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Because then they would have to beat up both of them, and it wouldn't be an issue, but that's probably why.
I thought they should have did a handicap match anyway. Had both the Paul brothers versus Floyd.
Yeah,
and both of them.
He said handicap match. 2v1.
They need everybody they can get. Yeah, but I don't know. They're giant dicks. I hate them for a reason. They have. And he thinks fighting Ben Askren and Nate Robinson makes those brothers better. It doesn't. Just wait till Mayweather lets him have it. It's going to be wonderful. So
look, I have nothing great to say about I guess Logan Paul. Didn't he already lose to like KSI? Like, he's probably not a great boxer, so I don't understand why he's fighting the best boxer of all time. And I definitely think Floyd Mayweather is going to smack whoever he boxes. Like, you can put him against anyone in the world and he'll smack him. But my thing is like Jake Paul, I'm not going to say he can fight, but I wouldn't want to get hit by him. Like, he obviously has power. He's been sleeping people. He's like, he might not have the best form, but anyone who's to be honest, if it was him versus Chad Ochocinco, that I don't know who I put my money on.
Ocho's got that one.
I don't know.
Well, okay,
Ocho might get hit one time and just.
But you have to look at.
Seen Ocho try to run through Ray Lewis and get jacked up.
He got up though.
But
I met Ray in the middle.
But this is what you have to look at. Yeah, he fought Askren, who's a wrestler. Askren's not a striker, and he never has been. It's why he was never that guy. Same with Nate Robinson. Yeah, he had the reach on him, no doubt, but Mayweather might be similar in size, but you have to look at the difference in everything. You have to look at who they fought and where they're at. Yeah, he might have fought this guy or that guy, but he still lost. Like, this is my thing. If Logan's fighting him, Logan lost to KSI. And I get that's KSI. That's a big man. But you look at Mayweather, and it's a whole new thing. I think they just talked a lot of crap. They're in a situation they can't get out of, and I think they're scared. I think they are. I think that's why they're trying to pull stuff like this. They're trying to get Mayweather off his rock. They're trying to get him to do something to get this fight called off, or yada yada yada. I think that's a possibility. I mean, how easy would it be for you say got your hat and you run into a crowd and Mayweather happens to hit somebody else?
He ran into the security's arms. Like he already knew he was going to get caught. Got your hat, and then he just like.
Well, exactly. And what if someone else gets hit by Mayweather? Now you can call that fight off, and you could be like, "Oh, look, now he's hitting people," because this is all they do. They're not about it. They're not about the real shit. They're about, I'm gonna make my name look better. I'm gonna make all these girls want me because I have money for doing vines and Disney things and light my house on fire, whatever the hell they do. So, I mean,
yeah, Jalen said he watches them every day.
Yeah, Jalen's like, I love the shit. They are wild, bro.
And to me, it's dumb. It's after a while, it's just like, okay, they broke their oven for the 4th time. They treat this girl like shit. Like that's how it is every day. So,
I haven't really watched much of it. I don't really know any of it. I've only watched the fighting and like some of the highlights and just like that they post after the fights.
It's a lot of it's just like Hypebeast. That's literally what it is. No hate on Hypebeast, but like they give Hypebeast a bad name, and that's basically what it is. They're like, we have all this money from these sponsors because this company paid us this, so we're gonna do this stupid shit. I have bigger issues with them than I do Tom Brady playing the Broncos. So I mean, that's just how it is, though. But they're gonna get what's coming to them. They're gonna get what's coming to them, and I can't wait for that date. I would literally make my car into a parade float, and I'll drive down 16th Street throwing a party when he gets knocked out. So that's gonna be great.
The only video that I ever seen of the Paul brothers was like a year and a half ago, and it was probably one of the dumbest things I ever seen. It was literally like Jake sneaking into Logan's room, waking him up, smacking pants together, and then when he woke up, they like smacked him in the face with a pillow, poured a bunch of crap on him, and then he's like, "What the hell, dude?" And Jake literally just got on a dirt bike in his room and was like, and then took off down the stairs like on the dirt bike. Like I was just like, okay, these dudes just do a bunch of dumb shit for fun. Like I can tell these guys are wild as hell, but yeah, I would never want to live with those guys nor be probably friends with them. I don't think they're probably pretty good people, but you never know, man. But that's all we have on the show for today on the shorter Rick T podcast Mother's Day special. It is season 2, episode 3. I'm your host, Eric Holmes, joined alongside with Jello Rexroad and Justin Sanchez. Boys, you guys got anything else to say before we bounce out of here?
Jokic for MVP. That's that.
Jokic for MVP. Jello, I'm about to make you a shirt that just says Jokic for MVP, and it has like a big. I'm gonna have his number on the back. Like, it's gonna be dope. I'm gonna send it to you. So send me your address.
Cool,
man.
I'll say thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Well, while Justin's frozen, I'll go ahead and show you a list of Zach Wilson, the new New York Jets. This is going to be his favorite targets for this season, man. 1, Corey Davis. 2, Xavier Howard. 3, Stephon Gilmore. And 4, Davion White, man. He's going to throw a lot of picks, in my opinion, man. I personally do think so, man. But I am Eric Holmes. This is Jello Rexroad, joined along with Justin Sanchez, man. This is Rick T Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. We are out of here. We will see you Wednesday for Talk Your Talk, and then next Sunday for Episode 4, man.
Yes,
appreciate you guys for joining me today, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having us.
Of course, man. See you guys next week.